Friends, this is the second lecture for the chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plant. Okay, this will be a short video as we will be only discussing about pollen grain. Okay, we will be only discussing about pollen grain. Pollen grain is actually male gametophyte. Okay, pollen grain is male gametophyte which is released from anther. Okay, which is released from anther. Okay, so this is a diagram of pollen grain. It has been taken from NCERT book. So this is an important diagram. We'll look into it. Okay, it is generally spherical in shape. It is generally spherical in shape and it measures about 20 to 25 micrometer in diameter. Okay, it has prominent two-layered wall. It has two layer, exine and intine. Obviously, exine is outermost layer. Exine is outermost layer and intine is inner layer. Okay, intine is inner layer. Very easy to remember. E for exit means out. So here we have exine. Okay, intine, inner. Okay, so inner layer is intine. Okay, so now we'll look into it. Exine, exine. Exine is outer layer. Okay, exine is outer layer and it is made up of sporopollenin. Okay, outer layer made up of sporopollenin. Okay, sporopollenin is one of the most resistant organic material known. Okay, this is important point. This is important point. Sporopollenin is one of the most resistant organic material known. It can withstand high temperature, strong acid and alkali. Pollen grain are well preserved as fossils because of presence of sporopollenin. Important point for NEET UG undergraduate exam. Okay. Next, we'll see germ pore. We'll see germ pore. Okay. Next, we will see germ pore. Okay. Germ pore here. Germ pore has pollen grain has prominent aperture, which is called as germ pore. Okay. Pollen grain has prominent aperture, aperture, which is called as germ pore. Okay. Germ pore. Germ pore is made up of, it is made up of cellulose and pectin. Okay. It is made up of Sorry. Really sorry. Really sorry. This is not correct. This is wrong, okay? Pollen grain has prominent aperture, which is called as germ pore, okay? And here, sporopollenin is absent. This is important point. Or in germ pore, sporopollenin is absent, okay? Next we have entine. Next we have entine, okay? So entine is inner layer, okay? It is thin and continuous layer, and it is made up of cellulose and pectin, okay? It is made up of cellulose and pectin, okay? So when pollen grain matured, it contained two cells, vegetative cell and generative cell. I think in NCERT it's given like this, okay? This is generative cell, this is generative cell, and this is vegetative cell, okay? This is vegetative cell. Vegetative cell is bigger, it has abundant food reserve, it has large irregular shaped nucleus, okay? You can see here vegetative cell, okay? You can refer the diagram here. Vegetative cell is bigger, okay? This is vegetative cell. This is vegetative cell. This is bigger. It has abundant food resource and it is large. It has large irregular shaped nucleus. Generative cell, it is a small and float in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. It is small and it floats in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell. It is a spindle shape, okay? Generative cell. You can see generative cell. This is the generative cell, okay? It float in the cytoplasm of vegetative cell, okay? Generative cell is small, okay? Float in cytoplasm, okay? Spindle shape, it is a spindle shape, okay? And it has dense cytoplasm and a nucleus, okay? So pollen grain of many species causes severe allergy and bronchial infection in some people, which often lead to chronic respiratory disorder like asthma, bronchitis, etc. Okay, so pollen grain is also associated. It is also associated with chronic respiratory disorder. Chronic respiratory disorder like asthma, bronchitis, etc. Okay, pollen grains are rich in nutrient. Okay, pollen grain are rich in nutrient. Pollen consumption has been claimed to increase the performance of athlete and racehorse. In Western countries, large number of pollen products in the form of tablet and syrups are also available in the market. These are the uses of pollen grain. Okay, and once pollen grain are said, it has to land on the stigma before they lose viability. So viability is basically a time period. Okay, viability is a time period in which it can fertilize. Okay, fertilize. So once the viability period is over, okay, it cannot bring fertilization. Okay, so once pollen grain are set, it has to land on the stigma before they lose viability. And pollen viability depends on temperature and humidity. Okay, pollen viability depends on temperature and humidity. For example, rice and wheat pollen grain have lose viability within 30 minutes of their release. Okay, rice and wheat, rice and wheat. Okay, pollen grain lose viability in 30 minutes. After 13 minutes, it cannot fertilize. Okay, pollen grain of large number of species can be stored for years in liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. Okay, and stored pollen can be used for crop breeding program. Okay, so in this chapter we read about pollen grain. Okay, its uses, then the disorder associated with it, its parts. Okay, with this we'll finish this small topic. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for watching, guys.